What's up everyone? Welcome back to another reaction video. This time I'm covering OniZombies content, specifically this video, the absolutely insane comeback of Dying Light 2. I'm going to leave a link in the description below to his content or to this video specifically, so make sure you go check it out and subscribe to his channel if you're not already subscribed, because this guy creates a lot of exceptional Dying Light 2 content. So if you're into Dying Light 2, make sure you subscribe to him. Anyways, he's pretty much discussing, I believe, the current state of the game and I think the future of the game. So let's see what is going on. Here we go.
Here we are 1 month later since the 1-year anniversary of Dying Light 2. In 2023 so far, Dying Light 2 is off to a very good start, launching with their biggest update yet, Community Update number 2. Alongside that new content, we also got the Bloody Anniversary event, where the community global goal was to chop off 60 million limbs. And guess what? The community got 2 times that, you psychopaths. The Bloody Anniversary event was a massive success for Techland. The reward itself were completely worth hopping onto the game and completing your personal goal. If you did so, you got the Rise outfit, that lovable piece of filth from
I don't know how I felt about that.
Right here, the success behind this event is what happens when Dying Light 2 receives 3 different things. 1, a massive update that the community has been desiring to go ahead and add in significant endgame content. Number 2, worthwhile rewards. And number 3, a correctly estimated goal. Techland has learned from the failures of previous events in 2022.
Okay. Endgame content, does he mean endgame content like in the current standard version of the game? Or endgame content once DLC 2 releases? I'm not quite sure. It would be nice to get endgame content in both now and then. However, we're going to have to wait and see how that plays out. And of course, the endgame content has to be rewarding. And we have to know what it is and when it's going to come out.
And this one really shined through. This event came alongside the Legend Levels update, which added a lot of content, so it prompted players to hop on the game. They were interested, and once online, they saw that the rewards were worthwhile. There was outfits, masks, weapons. Let's go and get it. Next thing you know, the community's working together. Bam! 10 million, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Holy shit! 110, 120, and 130. My god! That's a lot of blood, but it doesn't.
It was fun, I gotta admit.
In February, we got the dropkick event.
Not this part. I did not enjoy this one.
Was a hunter token.
Exactly. Like, I just didn't enjoy the concept of just drop kicking enemies because I barely do that. And look at the reward. This is what it would do to you. That's what the reward does to you.
The warm-up goal, you get a wrench, and it's not just any wrench, it's actually Brecken's wrench.
Oh wow,
remember
special
from
Brecken.
The original Dying Light, that goddamn parkour instructor?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I would have rather they had that girl there on the left. Now, I do not remember the characters' names. I only remember Kyle Crane from Dying Light 1. I don't remember, and Reyes. That's it. So, the protagonist and the villain, and that's it. I remember she was like a scorpion boxer or something like that. They had her posters somewhere, and then like she turns into a zombie at some point. That is her, right? See, like I don't remember her name, but I remember what happened with her more than anything else. Like, I honestly would have preferred her over this guy right here. This guy does not represent. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he looks like he's fucked up. He needs to, like, you know, be in a hospital or something, not running around at night trying to fight zombies. She's a boxer. She's ready, but she's dead, so, I mean, I don't know what happened to Brecken, to be honest. But I know she died, if I remember correctly. So, but still, like, Reyes died. We're still using his skin. Crane probably is dead. So, I wouldn't mind having her instead.
Well, he's back, and he's here, sort of. And if you got 200 drop kicks, you completed your personal reward, you got the Brecken outfit. And if you also play the original Dying Light at least once, you now have the complete trio.
The complete trio. The problem with this complete trio, these outfits right here, they're irrelevant. At least in the sense that even though they are the most like probably iconic characters from Dying Light 1, they're simply not memorable enough. Just Kyle Crane, and he doesn't even look like Kyle Crane. Looks like the guy from The Walking Dead. Like, why would you betray your characters? Like, almost you don't have faith in Kyle Crane. Right? Like, if we make Kyle Crane look like that guy from The Walking Dead, maybe he'll look cooler. I'm not sure, but that is not how Kyle Crane looked. I promise you that. That guy looks like the Walking Dead game I used to play on my phone. Jeez, guys, I don't know why they're doing this. So these characters, all three of them, they're just simply not memorable enough because they are too generic. Like, remember Scorpion? Get over here. Like, everybody knows that, even if they never play Mortal Kombat. They probably know it even if they never watch the movie. That's how memorable that character is. We do not get a single character like that in Dying Light 1 or Dying Light 2. And it's kind of sad. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to make a single character really memorable, just one. I want to remember a guy forever, like something he says for the rest of my life, even if I quit this game and never play it again.
In your drip collection. But here's the thing, I gotta be honest, my ultimate favorite, that Night Hunter mask. Awarded to players for their global...
That Night Hunter mask. What do you think, guys? He prefers that over the other three. That's like, it makes so much sense. And you know what? If you guys wanted those other outfits to actually really matter, other than just for looks, including this mask, how about you attach some like XP boost to them? You know, you wear this mask, it boosts your XP, your combat XP, let's say, parkour XP, or just overall XP by 5%. And watch everybody care about looking like Kyle Crane and Rice and all that. And if there's just a look with zero benefits, unless it looks awesome, nobody really cares. I have people asking me about my outfit, the Halloween one. They want to get that because they're like, you know, they're not impressed with the other outfits, and I do not blame them. Like, I'm talking about subscribers and friends that that have added me on the PS5 who play together all the time. Dying Light 2, of course. They're not too impressed with the outfits.
Goal of 15 million kills, and the community blew past those drop kicks in like 3 days. I'm so happy to see that the community was able to go and work together. The drop kick
executions, it was not for me.
This mask, so cursed, I absolutely love it. I kind of love this new era of Techland. They have really learned from their experimental first phase.
They have really learned from their experimental first phase. What first phase? They had Dying Light 1 for 7 years, and they've have witnessed how much people loved it till this day. I wouldn't be surprised if Dying Light 1 has more players than Dying Light 2 at this right now, today. Like 2023, seriously, guys. So what all they had to do was take Dying Light 1, the same mechanics, the same everything, the same with the combat, they can improve on that, but the parkour, like the physics of the game, were a lot better. So I know they're gonna improve on that. That's all they had to do, was take the game, the original one, and improve on it, build on it. They didn't have to experiment with anything else. They had a game that was not broken and people loved it. You just improve on, on Dying Light 1, and that's what Dying Light 2 should have been. Think about it. Dying Light 1 is scarier than Dying Light 2, probably for multiple reasons, because people love that game because it has a different feeling than this one. Before I discuss that, let's listen to what else he says. I'll come back to this point.
Because honestly, that's what I'm going to consider the entirety of 2022. 2022 was their year to test out different things, see what works, see what doesn't.
Okay, what works, what doesn't work. Exactly, shows you volatiles everywhere, scary nights, versus some idiot who steals your wallet and then expects you to, like, save his life. Alright? The That's what Dying Light 1 had that Dying Light 2 doesn't have. Is we didn't care about, helping out other humans with their like, emotional, you know, lives and like all their emotional problems with their family and all that. Like that's not why we play a zombie game. It's not a soap opera. Jeez, man. This is an a zombie apocalypse. It should be dark all the time. And look at him. Cheers. He's got like this jacket on, sleeveless, and it's like, he's trying to look cool and stuff. Like he's just living in the hood or something. Like, dude, this is a zombie fucking apocalypse, man. Stick to the theme. And that's what Dying Light 1 had, like we didn't have any of these fancy costumes down there, did we? I didn't play the game for too long, 7 years. I probably only played it for like a year or two out of those 7 years. I'm not gonna lie to you. Between a year and two. So I'm not sure if they came out with like, flamboyant, flashy outfits also for Dying Light 1, but I do not remember that being in Dying Light 1. So that's all I wanted to say for now.
And by now, I feel like Tech1 should have an exact idea on what we are looking for with Dying Light 2. How they handle their anniversary update, interviews, interactions with the community so far in 2023, it's quite exciting. The second year, oh, I gotta sneeze. The second year
Bless
so far
you.
is giving me hope, and if I have to offer one piece of advice to Tech1, please keep it up, especially with these events.
I hope they keep it up.
I believe contributes to the success of them is tying certain rewards as event exclusive. I personally think it's one of their best decisions, as it heavily promotes and incentivizes the players to participate. So continue that, please. Both my friends and I had to set time aside to go on to Dying Light 2, participate in the event, and get our reward. We weren't doing that when we were getting long nights, or my favorite, the avocado charm.
No, seriously, that avocado charm, if you attached it to your weapon and it granted you 5% XP boost, do you think anybody would be complaining about the avocado charm? But nobody gives a fuck about it because it's something that's supposed to look cute. Look at it, it looks cute. In a fucking zombie apocalypse, man. Like, I should have like a fucking volatile's head right here hanging on that fucking chain, man. I want a volatile's head. I want to chop off his head or his ear like we used to do in Diablo 2 when you kill another player. You get their ear, man, and you show it off to other players, especially if that was like, a known player for like, PvPing and shit, and you kill him. You better believe I'm picking up his ear and telling the whole boys about that story. And have their ear as evidence. But here, like, give us something like that. I mean, it's a game where you're dismembering your enemies all the time, and then they give you a cute avocado charm. If that cute avocado charm had XP boost, I wouldn't complain. But since it doesn't have XP boost, you should have made it something scary, to be honest. Don't give us cute things. This is not Super Mario, guys.
I'm gonna go walk on the oncoming traffic if I see those two returning.
I will join you, my friend.
I have one big question to ask. Can Tech1 keep this momentum up in 2023?
I hope they do.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I really hope and think they can, but let's also not forget,
We'll wait
Tech1's
and
got
see.
some competition coming their way in 2023.
That
That's
they
right,
do.
Dead Island 2 is on the way, and
Dead Island 2 is on the way, and Dying Light 2 is scared. That's what it sounds like. This is what he's saying. They are concerned, at least, if not scared. And they shouldn't be, because Dying Light 2 is a much better game, I believe, from what I've seen. Now, I can't judge Dead Island 2 yet, but I will make actually a reaction video to one of the Dead Island 2 videos that I saw. So keep an eye out for that. However, getting back to the point, Dead Island, to me, is not as serious as Dying Light. Like the theme, it feels more goofy, more I'm just gonna get in there, and have some fun, just smashing, people's brains out. You get like superpowers, and you have like different classes, and they do different things, and like it sounds fun, but it doesn't have the serious theme. This is why Dying Light 2 must have a completely different identity than the rest, and has to embrace the darkness and stop looking for fun, goofy activities for us to do while zombies are just a nuisance in the background. They shouldn't be fearing Dead Island 2, but they are because of their experimental phase that screwed them over. Had they just stuck to their origins, everything would have been fine and just improved on that. Just like how Elden Ring did with the Souls games, they improved. Elden Ring was an improvement on was pretty much an improvement of all the Souls games put together. And people loved it. This is what Dying Light 2 should have been. I mean, it's not too late. Let's hope they listen.
People are head over heels for that, and it's releasing in a couple of weeks.
I'm going to be
it's
playing
also
this
going to be
game,
very
guys,
interesting
so
to see how this
make
whole
sure
thing plays out. Is
you
Dead
watch
Island
the
2 going to
playthrough.
launch in a good state, a bad state where it's riddled with bugs, glitches, T-posing Keanu Reeves? Am I going to go and cry myself to sleep once again because of this? We'll have to wait and see. Dying Light 2 is taking a couple months off to focus on major core issues, but more on that later. I do want to go ahead and talk some updates to you. So around the release of the Dropkick event, TechOne actually went ahead and did a hotfix patch. You know what that means? New Dying Light 2 Secret Massive Update is here, and with this update, big health bars now exist, which... okay, but I thought size didn't matter. I'm not entirely sure about the decision behind that one, but normally I wouldn't even cover hotfixes on the channel. But if you haven't noticed, we're slowly overhauling content, and we've been doing that for the past 2 or 3 months by now. But when it came to this hotfix, it's actually a pretty significant update. They of course had their typical bug improvements, glitch and performance fixes, but there are 2 worthy changes in here worth mentioning. They added the ability to reset legend levels once per save for players who have achieved at least level 50. So if you want to go in and reset your rank for whatever reason you choose, you can now do so. This was most likely done in response to the group of players who loaded up on the anniversary event.
Those players were lucky. They are lucky. I wouldn't mind legend leveling if there was new content, but when there's a content drought and you want us to legend level, it's not as enjoyable.
On day 1 and hit max rank immediately. It's like waking up on Christmas eager to unbox your new zombie game. You unbox it and you get the day before. You've been so excited, waiting for so long to finally have something to play, and there's no substance there. You can't enjoy it.
I was actually going to play the day before, but I've heard so much about it, so many negative things, and I am not sure if that game is ever going to come out or not. I hope they do, because that game has lots of potential. So if they screw that up, they're just screwing themselves.
But now with the new update, those players can now go ahead, reset themselves if they choose, or you could sneak over to your friend's house, get his controller, and reset him. The ability to reset was honestly the best way to tackle this issue. It would have been a complete gamble if TechOne tried to investigate, find those players who hit max rank on day 1 and reset them. Because honestly, I feel like if they tried to push a big fix in typical TechOne fashion, some unaffected players might have been reset. So going ahead and just giving the players the option to manually reset themselves is easily the best and safest option.
That is true. It is the safest option.
But alongside
I agree.
this update, TechOne also increased the player stash inventory, going from 50 weapon item slots to 250. That's major. That is a request that we have been asking for so long since release. We wanted expanded spaces to ensure that we can keep our favorite weapons.
Like, to me, the accessories and the consumables areas, those are like, they need to extend that even more. Just, this is a personal preference. I don't care about the weapons as much. I just need 1 or 2, maximum 3, and that's it. I would never have so many weapons in my stash like that. But consumables and accessories, yes.
Intact. Bravo, TechOne. This is a great major quality of life improvement. Thumbs up to you.
Thumbs up indeed.
While a majority of the community is very much satisfied with the updates that TechOne has been doing so far, there is one small problem going on in the background. When I do these monthly reviews, I try to take a lot of ongoing issues, bundle them all up together so everybody feels heard, which leads me to one particular group in the community that has kind of died off since release, and that's the speedrunning community. So this is where gamers can band together to complete the game in the quickest time possible, using little tips and tricks to go ahead and get yourself a record time. Speedrunning, it's massive. It has a huge
massive, that's true.
Gaming events are held around the world embracing this.
Now, I've never been part of that community. I've never really watched any things like that, but I've heard so much about them. I've only like watched a few videos for Elden Ring speedruns, and that's about it.
Developers hop onto shows to watch how speedrunners complete their games in record time.
Instantly.
It's a community that loves what they do. It's a community that developers love actively engaging themselves in. Dying Light 1 speedruns were some of the most talked about, especially those in the following. Completing it in 7 minutes or less. I would love to finish in that time. Dying Light 1 had a major following for speedrunning. It's how some of your favorite creators found their footing in this community.
Stop humping my face, bozo.
But why now, nearly a year later, speedrunning in Dying Light 2 is just non-existent? That's because Tech1 has kinda killed this community.
Why would they do that?
There are numerous instances, specifics, gameplay movements, and tricks that would only benefit speedrunners and no one else, and it would constantly be patched out of the game. It was almost like Tech1 was watching all of these speedrunners complete their run and they turned back to their work to patch it out and make sure it never happens again. Which I do understand to a certain point. You don't want your players to go ahead and abuse your game.
I understand if they don't want the players to abuse the game. However, this is like bad marketing, simply put. Like, these guys are advertising for you. They are creating content that is attracting viewers and therefore probably new players. You know, a lot of people watch speedrunners. They watch speedrunners for games that they don't even play themselves. So I don't understand why they would kill that community for no reason. Like, other than, oh, they're abusing the game, but like, who cares? It's not affecting anyone else.
I get that. But the thing is, this went on for months since release. Speedrunners were constantly finding new and exciting ways to shave off time from their records. Then a week later, Tech1 just patches it right out. It's gotten so bad to the point where the speedrunning community has just given up entirely on this game. That's why you don't see any speedrunning going on, because Tech1 has simply just killed all interest with it. So now you're probably asking, what exactly does the speedrunning community want? They aren't asking for the game to be changed and completely overhauled for them. One thing that they're very passionate about and would reignite that community is to allow for a down patch back to 1.0.6. This is the most optimal version of the game that would allow them to speedrun, be able to focus on their times, and showcase their effort. It's just a little tiny Steam setting.
I hope they
that
get what they
Tech1
want,
needs to
honestly.
enable to allow players to revert back to that. This way, speedrunners can easily access their version without affecting the current state of the game. That's all they really want. But now I want to go ahead and start shifting the topics to DLC 2. Because this has me really excited for the future of Dying Light 2. Now, during the developer livestream, we had concept arts appearing, particularly these two right here. This one is an overgrown swamp looking like it's completely captured a city and drowned it out. It looks quite eerie, empty. A lonely road lays ahead for Aiden Caldwell. And as this DLC is intended to take place after the main events of the game, after the events of Mia, Aiden is back to his pilgrim path. And something like this that we're seeing right here is exactly what I want our main protagonist to go through. We then have another screenshot, a very dark, gloomy area.
Those
it's giving me
look
a
really
sense
nice,
of
by the
grittiness
way. Like, if they are able to capture, this kind of theme for DLC 2, and it's always dark and grimy and all that, that would be, pretty much making the right decision.
feeling that so many of us desired from
Exactly,
that E3
we all
showcase.
desire
Is
this.
Tech1 using this DLC to head back to the roots and give the community
They
what
have
they
to
want?
go back to their roots.
Honestly, I very much believe so. In an interview with Timon, he confirmed that it's going to be a narrative open world and focus on the infected and combat with them. He did also mention that Bloody Ties was an experiment. It was their take on the arena format. But when it comes to DLC 2, it's going to be more traditional. It's going to include a new region and definitely be taking community requests and feedback to help shape exactly what this is. But
Let's see
before
how
they
that
go
goes.
and showcase it, they want to update the core systems first, and they want to have this slow build up to the DLC to make it even more satisfying and fulfilling. That sounds familiar. Tech1's in that operation room desperately putting band-aids when they need to go back and fix the core issues first, changing the core system and reworking certain aspects of the game before making new content. But more on that later, I pinky promise. promise, because there was
That is true.
actually
They
a
need to
third
fix the
image
core
right
issues.
here. It went unnoticed for quite some time. For some reason, this concept art screenshot, it just kind of gives me Dark Souls and Bloodborne vibes. It's hard to make out exactly what this picture entails, but we have our character.
Did he just say Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Dying Light 2? If they are able to do that somehow, this could probably turn into my game of the year. But to be able to turn Dying Light 2 into Elden Ring, it's not going to be easy. I mean, it's not just about making it dark. It's about what you introduce in DLC 2. It has to be really scary, and if you want to be like Elden Ring, you better have a lot more infected enemies.
Character here, presumably Aiden, holding an axe, walking into what I think is a graveyard. We have the church in the background, or some kind of cathedral, and a watchtower overlooking the entire area. And just like the other two screenshots, this place looks haunting and menacing. In my opinion, more
this one looks
compelling
the
and
nicest.
horrifying than anything we've gotten in the base game of Dying Light 2. And just based off of the concept arts here, I think they really want to bring Dying Light 2 to that more grounded feeling. They want to bring in that horror that you would expect from a zombie survival game like this. And looks like now they're
How are they gonna do
committed to
that?
aiming for that Dark Ages vibe, with the setting and story centered around the infected. But we can actually go and dig deeper into this DLC, because there was a lot of data mine information
Yes, do
about it.
tell us.
You may remember from a couple months ago,
That's a lot of water, guys. That's a lot of water. I really hope there's not a lot of swimming in DLC 2.
DLC was going to be called Blood Diamonds, focus on divers, crystals, and underwater combat. The
Thank
leaked dialogue
God
for
they
that
scrapped
DLC
that.
hinted at a story focused on humans. But now, Blood Diamonds has been renamed to
I don't
New
know why they
Frontier,
were
which
obsessed
could
with
mean two
humans.
different
Jeez.
things. Blood Diamonds was never expected to be the second DLC, and what the community found was just leftover cut content. Or number two, which I'm kind of leaning more towards, is that Blood Diamonds was scrapped entirely because of community feedback.
Now, if it is due to community feedback, they got some brownie points, as they say, for that, right?
I hope it's that one. It would kind of fit the Techwin redemption arc that they're going for in 2023. I mean, ever since the anniversary update, it just brought the community back together and basically re-sparked interest into this game completely. So Techwin changing up their DLC to be an infected-centered story that takes place after the events of the main game in response to community feedback would not be so far-fetched.
That would be
One of the
really
biggest
smart of
complaints
them as
about
well.
Bloody Ties was that it completely ignores the main game.
And just doesn't ignore the main game, it ignores the requests of the community. Nobody asked for you to experiment. Why are you trying to fix something that is not broken? People wanted darkness, and they want scary and new infected. That's all you have to focus on. The atmosphere, imagine like in the middle of a level 4 chase, you have like a thunderstorm and lightning strikes, like the building right next to you while you're fighting volatiles, and your whole screen goes goes really bright for like a second. You can't see anything, and then before, as soon as you gain your sight back, you realize you're already on the ground with like a volatile on top of you trying to like eat you or whatever. That would be a lot more interesting. Make it heavy rain, where like it really affects your vision. Things like that. Windy days, and like you see the wind like carrying a lot of like, I don't know. Or like actually the wind can affect even the way you glide. And like I was gonna say, the wind would carry a lot of like debris with it, like nothing too big, but like it just dims your vision. Like you can't see as good because of the debris and the dust that is carrying with it. That's all I wanted to say. But I have a lot of things to add, but I'll do so in a few more minutes.
Play as Aiden for so long, he's so hell-bent on trying to find and rescue his sister, Mia. It's his goal, it's his mission.
Which
But then
didn't
some
matter
random
at
dude
the
tells
end.
you to go to an abandoned pool, next thing you know, you're murdering people for sheer enjoyment. It didn't really make sense and went completely against the character of Aiden. With DLC 2, it's confirmed to take place after the epilogue, which also brings up an interesting question. What ending are they going for? As we know,
This is the ending I got with Lawan, but I think the most logical one would be when he goes alone, because it wouldn't make sense otherwise. It would just be too much work if you put Lawan or Hakan with him.
There are so many different endings, one with Lawan, one with Hakan, one where Aiden is alone. And for me, just my guess, but you can go down below in the comments and tell me what you think, but I think they will most likely go with the one where Aiden is alone by himself to continue his story of being a pilgrim that travels around the world. The developer livestream did say Aiden's pilgrimage would be expanded on. And honestly, I also think Rosario Dawson is very expensive.
Yeah, she might be very expensive, but they can afford it. Like, they've been making good money from this game. So if they were able to afford her, to do the whole base game, they can afford her for a smaller DLC. Come on, they've been making money. It's not like they're losing money. They're not. Like, most people like their game. They just have a lot of complaints, and they want them to change the direction they're taking. That's all.
I don't think there's any shot they're getting her back for that happily ever after. And with the concept arts that we're seeing, I feel like Aiden having a sidekick that he could rely on would go slightly against the identity that they're trying to establish, but I could be very, very wrong here. This is one of the downsides of writing a story with choices and consequences, because now you need to go and decide which ending is canon. Timon also hinted that new methods of weapons would be coming, and I hate to break it to you, but he's talking about guns. There's no way he isn't, and I have the proof to back it up here, because also data mined in the files were two items called Frontier Pistol and Frontier Shotgun. These files were added into Dying Light 2 after the major
initially,
update,
at least.
And modders, thank you Colty, were able to successfully get their hands on it and play around with the weapon animations. You can see it for yourself right here. Now obviously, I don't want to confirm it, it could be absolutely nothing, but everything is pointing in the direction of guns confirmed. And from the looks of it, it seems this story is going to take place outside of Villador, and because of that, guns could easily reappear. Inside of Villador, we know that all the guns were confiscated. The story element and lore doesn't disregard guns appearing outside of the walls, and that's exactly what could be occurring here. But we can't also forget the hidden potential of that secret gun stash that could be somewhere in the city. But I don't think they're going to be going down that route here, at least not yet. And one last thing to mention before we further discuss the roadmap is that there were hints of characters from the original Dying Light to return. Some notable ones are Crane, Brecken, Spike, Koga, and Fatim. But let's...
Like, it doesn't make sense. Isn't Crane dead? It's either he turned into a volatile or he was nuked. Like, did he survive the nuke? Is he now a volatile and he's intelligent? He's going to start talking to us like that other volatile, Sentinel volatile was talking to us? I don't know. But it just kind of doesn't make sense if Carl Crane comes back. Like, they have to have some, good reason to have him come back.
Also, not forget that one of the developers literally had a folder saying Crane is alive on his desktop. And repeatedly, ever since this update, Techland has kind of been hinting towards his return, so I wouldn't be surprised if it actually does happen. If he does come back, I hope it's not for cheap fan service trying to score some brownie points with.
Exactly. Like, if they're just gonna put him back and there's no story behind it, like, he's just back. Hey guys, here's Kyle Crane. Like, where did you come from? Like, they're not gonna tell you. Kind of just like what happened with Chiro and that, Bloody Ties DLC. It's like, it had, it was not connected to the main story in any form or way. It had no relevance. And I was like, oh, here you go. Here's something for you to do. It's like, no, man, no. They're just being lazy like that.
Everybody, I would want a really compelling story to be built with his involvement, not just have him packed on. It could also be the perfect way to introduce Sentinel volatiles.
Okay, now I have a lot to discuss. They say they want to make the game scarier. They say they're going to put volatiles, roaming volatiles. They're going to introduce roaming volatiles. Is that new? Or is that taken from Dying Light 1? That's not scary. Like, even if they introduce roaming volatiles, unless you're a brand new player, that's not going to be scary. If you're like a player like me that's almost like maxed out and stuff, you're fully decked out, you got all the items you need and all the gear you want and everything. Like, a volatile is not going to scare me. I promise you, I'm the one who's going to scare it. It will run. It will run or it will die. That is not how you scare us, by putting roaming volatiles. Now, what I think is, even now, before DLC 2 comes out, instead of roaming volatiles, the least you can do is have roaming tyrants. And you should introduce a new variant of the volatile, or the tyrant, actually, because a new variant of the volatile is the tyrant. So we want another variant of the tyrant. So, you don't have to do too much work. It's pretty much the same thing. You can make them look different, a bit bigger. I don't know, like give them horns or a tail or something. Just make them look a bit different. Like make Spire, like, I don't know. But there's so many different ways you can make them look different. But however, make them stronger than the tyrant, more threatening than the tyrant. And when he calls for other zombies to assist him, how about he calls upon volatiles? He doesn't call upon virals. He summons volatiles to come and assist him and aid him in battle instead of that. And you have one of those tyrants. I don't know what to call him. The super tyrant, let's say. You guys will come up with a cooler name. I don't feel like thinking now. But the super tyrant zombie you would have one zombie roaming around, let's say, every area. So one in the Trinity area, one in downtown, one in Muddy Grounds, one in the Garrison, one in St. Paul Electric Station, and each single one is protecting its turf, pretty much its territory. It like roams around, and every once in a while, I've taken this idea from Be the Zombie from Dying Light 1, and what this zombie would do, the super tyrant, it would release a really loud howl, and that howl would scan the whole area, just the area that is supposed to be patrolling in only, and it would pretty much detect you. It would be able to sense you, smell you, or whatever. It's not going to smell you, but like, will detect you like a bat using like sound waves and all that. So once it does that, it starts chasing you. It starts looking for you. Now that would be scarier, and give it like new mechanics. Don't make it just spit and jump. Like make it do something new at least, or it's like it can do those things plus a new move. That's it. Like that shouldn't be too hard to achieve. And it would be something that's not completely new. It would be a variant of the tyrant. However, like the mechanics would be so different that it would feel new at least. And it would be terrifying to have a tyrant like that that's like looking for me. It has way more health, and like it calls volatiles to help it. It knows where I am and it's looking for me, and that is scary. And like you can hear it howl, and like every time it howls, it's actually looking for you, just like how you were as the zombie in Be the Zombie. That would be great. And you know what? Take the skills that Be the Zombie had and put it on this super tyrant. Make this new tyrant be the same exact zombie from Be the Zombie. Like make him spit out like um, things that would turn off your UV flash, for your UV flashlight for 10 seconds, or he would spit it at your UV bar, and that will make your UV bar completely redundant, and you have to use another one. Make him do things like that, Like, didn't the other one like wrap his tongue around, the night runners? I remember wrapping my tongue around one of the night runners, if I remember right. Like, you're allowed to pounce at them somehow, but I don't remember. It's been such a long time since I played Beat the Zombie, so I just remember that you had a skill tree, and they can take some of those skills and give them to the new Super Tyrant, and pretty much here you go. You have a new variant of an existing zombie, but he's so different, he's actually a lot more terrifying, and it will feel fresh and new. I didn't tell you take a tyrant, set him on fire, and call him the blazing tyrant like you did with the demolishers and the goons. The goons actually, not demolishers. So I'm giving you actual ideas that you can implement and that exists in Dying Light 1. So they're not too hard to introduce into Dying Light 2. But will they listen? I'm not quite sure. Anyways, let's finish this off.
Keep that in mind, Techland. But now, let's go ahead and start talking about that roadmap, because there is a lot I want to say about it. We know that Tech1 is upgrading the gore, adding a proper transmog system, changing the nighttime experience, and also fixing the parkour flow. So what new information do we have regarding
Everybody
these
wants
requests?
transmog, that's
Here's
for
what
sure.
we got over the past few weeks. The strategy is simple: improve, update, and tweak the core elements of the game so that they're more in line with community expectations. This year's focus is on our players' voices, so it's very important to us that they stay active and loud.
Exactly, guys. You have to get vocal. Get on his channel, comment on this video and his other videos. You know, make sure you voice your concerns. Tell them what you want to see, what you like, what you hate, what you dislike, and what you think can improve. And they will listen, because if nobody says anything, they're just gonna think everything is okay, and they're gonna have to find out the hard way that everything is not okay by realizing that their player base is, consistently and constantly dropping. So make sure you make yourself heard.
Specifically when it comes to the nighttime, Tech1 knows it overlooked its importance. Timon stated that in the first game, it was so scary that a majority of players just skipped it entirely.
Okay.
So going into the second game, Tech1 wanted to go ahead and make it more accessible, and that's how they developed it.
That's not, like, to me, I'm sorry, but that is not a good excuse. People found it scary and skipped the night. I initially was one of those people when I was initially just first starting the game, but I didn't stay like that the whole way through. And if there's a segment of the player base that finds the game too scary that they don't want to go out at all at night, then that's when they can go for easy mode. And in easy mode, well, guess what? You barely get those volatiles to roam around, and they just take 2 or 3 hits and they die, or whatever. Or you have to get really close to them for them to notice you. While if you're playing hard mode, they can smell your ass from a mile away. How about you do that? Things like that would balance it out and make everybody happy. Everybody will be satisfied, and you won't have as many complaints.
But because of that, things got carried away and it lost a little bit of its identity and feel.
They're doing too many dumb experiments. I'm sorry, guys.
And Nighttime and Dying Light 1, I recently went over this in a previous video, but they're so haunting and terrifying. Dying Light 2 Nighttime just doesn't hit the same as Dying Light 1. The horror just isn't there.
And don't forget, Dying Light 1 was a whole new experience for everyone. Dying Light 2, we have a lot of returning veterans. A lot of people have been playing Dying Light 1 for years. They're coming to Dying Light 2 and they're like, what the hell is this? They have to keep that in mind. The game is not as scary as it used to be. Even if you make it scarier in Dying Light 2, it's not going to be the same, because it's not our first experience. Unless Dying Light 2 is the first Dying Light game you ever play, nighttime is not going to be scary for you, honestly. Maybe some people find it like that, but I don't. I find daytime boring, seriously boring. I do not want to do anything during the daytime.
As it once was, and it's a little bit unsatisfying. Unless you're Game Rant, then you think it's the best thing ever. We want the players to be more
someone thinks it's the best thing ever,
than
but
they feel
not
right
me.
now when playing the night experience. We want to give them the ability to play with the night systems even more and feel more in control of those systems. To make the nighttime more scarier, Tech1 plans to change the atmosphere, offer literal darker nights, and have roaming volatiles make a return.
Like I said, thunderstorms that are loud. The thunder is so loud you're not sure if you can hear a zombie next to you or not. Something like that. The lightning strikes the building, flashes, you can't see anything for a second or two, in the middle of a, chase level 4. And so forth. Just create, weather systems that make it hard to see. That just dull all your senses. Whether it's visual, whether it's your hearing. I don't know what else you can do in a video game. I guess just visual and hearing, right? So, and again, introducing something that was already in Dying Light 1 into Dying Light 2 is not really the smartest thing. Roaming volatiles is not new, guys. I'm not going to repeat myself, but it's not new.
What players can expect is the ability to dive deep into the streets of the infected, but still be able to walk and sneak through if they're agile enough. They want volatiles to be lurking at every corner.
We need demolishers. We need the Revenant or whatever it was called to come out of the GRE anomaly area that he's always in and start roaming the streets at night. Or maybe pop out in the chase level 4. And the chase levels, they take forever to get a chase level 4. Maybe it should be only 2 chases, like chase level 1 and chase level 2. That's it. But from chase level 1, you get virals. You know what I mean? It's like, what is chase level 1 and what's the difference between chase level 1 and chase level 2? Can somebody explain that to me? Because the only difference that I know of is you get more virals in chase level 2. Like, seriously? And then chase level 3, you get more virals and like a few volatiles. And chase level 4 is like mainly volatiles with a few virals. No, each chase level 1, like, I mean a lot of virals. Chase level 2, volatiles and virals. Chase level 3, maybe some demolishers might pop out. Maybe those hags, what are they called? The night ones? They need to start popping out. Chase level 4, the Revenant comes out. And as I mentioned earlier, you need to introduce a new tyrant. How about a tyrant comes out at the chase level 4? How about tyrants, at least, if you do not want to create a new zombie or a new variant, at least, please, for hard, if you're playing hard mode, I want tyrants. You don't like the tyrants? Play, easy or normal. But don't ruin it for everybody because, some people are scared to play at night. It's not our fault.
They want to also increase motivation to go down into the street level as well. They're going to be offering and introducing new sources of loot.
New sources of loot. If they want to motivate us to go out at night and kill enemies at night, those enemies have to drop weapons. Straight up. I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat anything, because the way it is right now is just crap. Nobody wants to do night things unless it's, part of the chapter missions or whatever. Nobody wants to go around killing tyrants out of their own free will. You know what I mean? They all do it because they feel like they have no other choice. If they want to rank up with Harper, they have to go out at night and start killing those zombies. But those zombies should be rewarding with or without Harper. Harper should be increasing the rewards. So now you have 2 reasons to kill that zombie. That tyrant. The tyrant naturally drops an item, and now when you kill a tyrant, you get a token, and that token will get you another item. So now you got 2 items for working for Harper instead of just one by, if you did it by yourself and just killed the tyrant for no other reason than, sheer enjoyment or just farming or whatever it is.
And possibly more activities in order to achieve that. And then when it comes to parkour changes, it also shares some similarities to the nighttime. Parkour in Dying Light 2 was deemed a little bit too accessible, so they're going to be reverting back. They want to give players a more grounded and realistic approach that they're used to.
I like what I'm hearing.
The first game. Because honestly, players who go back to the first game will realize that it's a little bit more difficult to get into after playing the sequel. Timon also mentioned the fluidity of movement.
I love the first one. I don't know what he's talking about there. Like, maybe some players do, but not me.
Seamless movement through geometry just isn't as satisfying as it should be.
The physics of this game
is going to be responding by making a lot of subtle animation changes and changes to their algorithm to ensure that the new system works logically. And honestly,
we'll
with
see
all
soon,
that
guys. We'll see
together,
soon.
2023 is looking to be a really great year for Dying Light 2.
So far,
just
I agree.
the amount of changes that they made in the past 2 to 3 months already is quite impressive. Community support behind this game and developers was not like this in 2022. I honestly thought this game was on its deathbed in December.
Me too. I actually thought this was going to be a dead game
definitely
soon.
More satisfied with the current state of the game, but we still need to keep actively doing our part and staying vocal about certain issues. And friends, that concludes this video.
Alright.
So I'm going to be a little bit honest. I'm recording this on February 14th because I'm going on vacation for like 2 to 3 weeks. So by the time this gets uploaded, if certain things were added in or changed, it may not be included in this video. I'll try my best to do so, but I'm going to be in Switzerland. I'm going to be ice climbing and also paragliding my way around. So yeah, I thought I would go ahead and let you know. And if you haven't already,
this guy
like, subscribe,
is going to turn into Aiden.
See you later.
Enjoy your time, bro. Well, everyone, now that we're done, I'd like to add a few more things, and we're going to be done as well. So I'm going to talk probably for the next, like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 minutes or something. All right. I wanted to discuss endgame content and DLC too, since I'm pretty sure they're not going to introduce it now. They should introduce new endgame content right now. Right now, they should fix the game, fix the parkour, the combat, the bugs, everything. That's the only thing I want them to do right now. I don't care about new content as long as they make the game really good first before they introduce the new content in the form of DLC 2. However, once we reach that point, I want there to be like the new DLC has to be like the following. Big map, which is what they're saying. This is what they're trying to tell us. This is what they're promising us, it feels like. So I want new experiences, of course. We want new weapons. We're expecting that. But I also want like new consumables. I don't just want it to be guns and weapons and like some armor or something. I want consumables. I want the quests to be interesting, to have some depth at least. And like, hey, if you don't want to have depth, as in like, depth in the story and all that, and get us attached to the characters, that's not a big deal. But at least make them interesting or just rewarding. Even if they're not interesting, just rewarding. If you can do both, it would be great. Um, and of course, new weapon mods, new blueprints. Give us a grenade that, let's say, when explosive releases that toxic chemical that turns humans into zombies. Imagine having that instead of your infected arrow or infected blade. Infected grenade. How about that, guys? Give us things like that. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, I probably have a bunch of ideas. If I sit down and write them, I probably can tell you guys like in a different video or something. But for now, I'm just thinking, things are just coming into my head, and I'm just telling you what I'm thinking of right now. So like no real thought went behind it. Um, and honestly, the events that they make from now on all should have some um, XP boosting, pretty much perks attached to them, bonuses, whatever you want to call them, stats. So an XP boost bonus would be great, and wouldn't it be nice if one of the new events, remember Baka, the Halloween event, how he was selling potions to you? Ones that made you run faster, one that made you see things like upside down and I don't know what. Remember that? Imagine if in the new event, they introduce a new NPC and he sells you XP boosters. Now, if you do not want to feel like you are betraying the old community who played DL1 and bought the Ultimate Edition. I don't know what the requirement was to get the XP boosters, but if you do not want to feel like you are betraying those guys, all you have to do is give us boosters that are less effective than theirs. If theirs is 100%, give us ones that are 50. Or give us ones that are 100, but make it a different kind of XP booster where, the guys who have the old XP boosters can pretty much stack the new XP boosters with the old ones. So they'll have 200%. And that way, it balances things out. Or just give us XP boosters that give 50 an increased percent. But honestly, I don't know why they didn't do that when they introduced the legend levels and they introduced the new events, because everybody was legend leveling. Till this day, actually, most people that I play with, they care about XP boosters. They care about gear that gives them XP. So it would be a really smart idea to reintroduce XP boosters in a different form, make them not as strong as they were, or not, make them not last as long, to balance things out if you need to. But it's a good time to introduce them. Otherwise, if everybody reaches 250 by the time DLC 2 is out, nobody's gonna care about leveling up. And if there's no other way to level up in DLC 2, like if we reach Legend level 250, is there gonna be any other way to level up? Is there any other thing to level up, or are you gonna increase the Legend levels one day? Maybe you should. Maybe you should make it 350 and add some new skills. You know, things that, let's say, increase your stamina regeneration, by 10% or whatever, 50% by the end of it, by the time you max out that talent. And I mean, I could write a whole bunch of ideas what they should do, but I don't think they're gonna do that, so I'm not gonna waste too much time on that. I just need them to understand that all the community cares about at this point is new infected enemies and really good rewards. That's it. You focus on those two, you make the game really dark and grim, and I promise you, you will not regret it. Anyways, guys, I've said everything else on my mind. I literally have nothing else to add. Not now. I have to wait until they show us more information. They show us some more new content. If they, I don't know if they're going to show us, new enemies or not, but so far, I haven't heard anything, not even from the files that were leaked and all that, not even from any of the leaks, that there is a new land zombie. Do not tell me freaks. Freaks are from Dying Light 1. Okay, roaming volatiles, Dying Light 1. We want something new. So, I'm just going to end it here, guys. I said my piece, so... Anyways, guys, again, I'm going to leave the link in the description below for OniZombies, so make sure you check it out. And I thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next episode. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and see you next time. Peace.